Yo, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Channel 99. This is another party cast brought to you by me, your host, Tim, and I've got Scott on the line today.
What's up?
We went over everything. It's been a while since we caught up. Unfortunately, I lost some of the footage of our last conversation, which was a shame. So had him back on so we could geek out a little bit. We talked about everything from the MGK and Eminem battle back to a continuous topic within every one of my podcasts that I produce, all 4 shows, which is, Nephilim or the Bigfoot or
UFOs, propaganda,
DNA, mind control, everything.
It's a crazy range of topics.
It's
here,
always fun,
but it's always
Channel
good
9.
shit. To education,
Yeah,
to wages, to everything.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We got into all that stuff. It was it's a good and it's subtle changes. It wasn't like a hard right turn into something. It was like you heard it and then like, oh, let me take that up here.
Exactly.
So it'll be smooth. You guys will like it.
I think everybody will enjoy this. Yeah. Make sure that you stay tuned in to the end for a special goose egg.
Yeah.
And give us 5 stars, subscribe. Make sure that you like our social media pages to keep up on all of our episodes, just because Channel 99 does so many different shows. I do 4 shows. I do Testimonies with Tim, which is a new one. First episode will drop actually on Sunday this week, and then it will continue to drop every Sunday. We will follow somebody on their spiritual journey. I do not believe in I'm not a religious man. It's not that I don't believe in God or a higher being, but I don't believe in religion. So this is this is a 9-month journey of me sitting here calling somebody out and challenging their beliefs. I think you'll be very interested in it, just because I have a different point of view with my upbringing and my understanding of certain things. I also do the Pro Edge podcast, which is with lots of professionals from former undercover LAPD narcotics officers, all the way to professional athletes and musicians. I also produce Free World podcast that does specifically professional fighters. We've done Bellator fighters, UFC fighters.
Talked about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Management. Yeah,
that's what we did. We talked about a little management stuff.
Look, Channel 99, if you're tired of listening to fake shit and you want to hear real shit,
just come hang out.
Channel 99, come hang out, listen to real shit.
I'm trying to bring the best to the valley, so maybe grab a drink if you're not a drinker. Maybe grab something to entertain your hands while we entertain you and make you geek out. So anyways, appreciate you listening in. Give us 5 stars. Again, subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Word.
Shut up and sit down.
Sweet dude. Scott, thanks for coming on PartyCast and hanging out with me today, bro.
Fuck yeah, man.
I'm excited.
Been too long.
I lost the last footage that we had, so I felt pretty bad about it. But
it's probably just as well.
Yeah, it happens, dude. Welcome back though to Channel 99.
Hell yeah, man. Happy to be on.
Hell yeah. So we're about to go to this Tumbleweeds concert. I had Dustin in on the show. He did an acoustic set. He killed it. I'm super excited to go see this guy, so I'm happy that you hit me up.
It's gonna be cool at the Rev too. Like, it sucks about the knit, but
yeah,
it's cool that they, I think the Rev will be even better. There's more space.
I think so too.
Yeah. And if Brogan's there, we'll go to VIP or whatever for.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
We'll see if he's bartending tonight.
He might be, dude.
Yeah,
it's very possible. But yeah, we were talking a few minutes ago. You were explaining something to me.
I was just talking about the MGK Eminem beef
stuff,
or whatever.
So I'm not up to date in this. Like,
I'm not really. I don't follow it too much. I just heard I guess Eminem released his album, like, surprise release in the middle of the night or whatever, and he called, mentioned a bunch of people and all this shit like he always does, and so MGK came back with like a sort of a diss song, but it was mostly. It was like half praise, half diss. It was sort of weird. Mm-hmm. And then so today Eminem came out with his called it Kill Shot or whatever. Just come back to it.
That was the only one I've heard. I listened to like 3 of the 4 minutes. It's a long song.
Yeah, it's pretty long. So yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, it was weird. Although it did have a line in there like that was talked about, like you'll admit that about the same time Puffy admits sending the hit out on Tupac or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, right in the middle of the song, right at the end, and it like the last line of it is like, hey Puffy, I'm just kidding, you're my boy or something.
Oh, I did get that point. So I did listen to the whole song.
Okay,
then.
That was the end of it. So I was, because he said that, and I was like, shit, you're gonna get the hit next.
Yeah. Well, he's been in the game so long, dude. He's probably got.
Yeah. And it's but I don't know. It was just kind of interesting. I always kind of like the old school rap beefs and stuff.
I thought it was funny when he dogged him on his man bun.
Yeah, that was You name yourself after a gun, and you got a fucking man bun.
You got a man bun. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Eminem's solid though, and it's kind of funny that two white dudes are disrupting the rap scene.
Yeah,
right?
That's weird. Like Eminem, I get like you don't even think about him as a white dude rapping anymore.
No,
but like MGK, you still sort of do. Although I like him, he's still talented. Like,
sure,
and he does some different stuff now too. He's got like some songs, like where it's like some it's not less of a rap and more of a kind of a song / rap or.
But doesn't he do? I don't know. I guess didn't Eminem say I don't listen to MGK, but I think Eminem was dogging him on his whole. Auto tune or whatever. He's like, I don't have to auto tune or something.
Yeah, I'm sure he does that.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Keep talking. By the way, I just have to fill this spot real quick. But Eminem, I still think he's the rap god.
Oh yeah, he's the king.
One of the best.
Although his last, not this new one that he just released, but the last one before that was weak as shit.
Was it?
And I was like,
is that probably why he came out with Kill Shot? Because it's like, fuck. I don't know.
Well, it was just, I mean, you can't be rich as hell for 10, 15 years or whatever and still rap about shit that matters.
Mm-hmm.
You're just out of touch. You just automatically are. It's like Dr. Dre can't still talk about the streets. Like he's been living in an LA mansion, surrounded by white people for 20 years. Like he just, which is it's fine. It's just, it rap's sort of a young man's game. It's people coming up, the struggle, talking about real shit on the street or whatever. So you just can't be rich and not be in any of that stuff and still be rapping about stuff at 45 or
that's true.
Whatever.
Because if you think about it, the majority of some of those guys' lives have been in prosperity.
Yeah. I mean, by now, when they came up, their first couple out, you listen to Dr. Dre and NWA and all that stuff. That was real shit. That was Compton streets.
Yeah. Totally.
But after 20 years of living in a mansion next to Jane Fonda or whatever, you can't really act hard on a rap anymore because you be wearing cashmere sweaters and playing piano,
sure,
and sitting by the fire on the ocean, and so what do you have left to talk about?
Nothing.
Maybe you can still Dre's still a good producer. You can still make beats and stuff like that for other people, but don't nobody want to listen to whatever you got to say now about being rich.
Well, I think all you can do at that point is you can just be an influence.
Yeah, that's cool. And you already are. You're already if you're Dre or Eminem or Ice Cube or any you're a legend. It's nobody can touch your legacy or any of that stuff. It's like any other thing. You see MMA fighters holding on too long. Their brain hasn't caught up that their body can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to let go when you were that good and that big and. So it's just always sad. It's always kind of, it's like that lion that finally gets overtaken by the younger lion, and because it's just can't do it anymore. So
I saw it in my grandfather as he was going, as he was passing, and I saw it as he was getting older. He hated getting old, man.
Well, everybody does it,
Yeah,
it sucks.
And he would see, new things up and coming, and he wanted to be a part of things and he couldn't be because he was incapacitated somehow, whether it was he was using a walker at the time or he couldn't drive or maybe he had doctor's appointments or something, but he just couldn't do what he wanted to do, and I saw it really affect him. And I think as you get older, I think that that definitely withers away at your life.
I mean you can still when I look at across the spectrum, I look at guys that are
Especially people who are successful.
Yeah, but I look like 55, 60, 65 that are still doing it, that are still going out and doing what they want to do. And, you got to be smarter about it when you're older, because your body can't do what it used to do or whatever. So you have to sort of moderate. But, I always want to still be going to shows. And, that's the cool thing is you go out to a concert and there's like a 65-year-old dude in there, at like Rage Against the Machine or Nine Inch Nails or, they're still doing it. And I'm like, yeah, you just gotta moderate, but it sucks. I can't imagine a day where I can't go do some of that I want to do, go golf and drink and go to concerts and, do all that stuff. It's just, I can't even imagine that day. So hopefully it'll never happen until I just can't do it, and then I'm dead the next day or something. So I don't want to be looking back on my life for the last few years, right? Because I can't do it. Although I've done enough that I could. Right. That's partially why you do it, right? So you have. So when you are, it's that deathbed thought. When I'm on my deathbed, I want to think about, all the good times I had. The ghost of Pussy Past, all the different, where you're like, yeah, I did it, I did all that stuff. So you have all that cool stuff to sort of think about, but you never want to stop doing it either. So
yeah, just live life to its fullest. Yeah, that way you don't have anything to regret.
Exactly.
Well, they're releasing some information now that says young blood may actually reverse aging.
Oh shit!
And it's been proven in a certain. I don't know if it's a certain breed of mice, or rats or whatever it is, but it's been clinically tested. And essentially, what they do is they extract blood from a younger specimen. They inject the older one. I don't know the specifics. I just glanced over the article. Actually, this was a long time ago.
Right.
But it popped up on a headline not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago. I think there was a breakthrough in it recently, or more confirmation, I guess. More data that probably proves for rather than against whatever their hypothesis might be.
Like supplementing or getting transfusions or something? Is that what it's talking about?
I think it is. I think it's a transfusion. And
so not just bathing in children's blood or something?
Right. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, or was that
the witches.
Countess Bathory or whatever? A long time ago or whatever, she used to, this queen would bathe in the blood of virgins and children and stuff, trying to stay young. Yeah, it's like Elizabeth Bathory or something like that. I can't remember.
And this is for real?
Yeah, for real.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think they called her Bloody Mary or something like that.
Oh, I thought Bloody Mary.
Or no, maybe that was
Bloody Mary.
I don't know. I get them confused. Maybe she's It's not like we don't have a device with all the information or
a phone. You could probably Google it real quick.
Yeah, that's what.
I can do it on here. But
I might be putting two of them together. I think Bloody Mary might be I
think Bloody Mary is the one you say in the mirror. 3 times.
Oh yeah,
like Candyman. Did you ever watch Candyman?
Yeah, Candyman, dude, that was so good. Weren't there 3 or 4 of those?
Yeah, and they were good. The first 2 were really good. After that, I didn't like them. I thought they were kind of lame. What were you searching though again? Sorry, I got off track.
Just Countess Elizabeth Bathory.
Elizabeth Bathory.
So she was Hungarian. So she was a Hungarian noblewoman and alleged serial killer from the Bathory family of nobility in the Kingdom of Hungary. And so that was 1614 was when she died. But she used to... Was
she the one that would have all the workers? She was part of a big family, and she had all the workers. They were like peasant workers that would come and work inside her estate.
Maybe.
And she would just kill them. And they were all young women, young girls.
Yeah, I think, something so she bathed in the blood of virgins
hundreds,
to retain...
hundreds.
Yeah, bathed in the blood of virgins to retain her youth. Although it's hard to tell what's fact or fiction, I think. Well, at this point, but it was clear she was a serial killer of some sort, and was trying to, but how many people do that? That they're that desperate to.
She was a countess, you said.
Yeah, so Hungarian nobility.
I think this is the one that I was listening to on a podcast about serial killers.
Oh, okay.
And. Yeah. What she would do, she would have workers come work on their, what do they call it, homestead?
Yeah.
Or their estate, or whatever it is, garden and making food, making beds, tending to guests.
Probably from poor families that nobody really cared too much about.
They
Nobody would
come in
notice
from
them
the towns.
missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, young kids. They think they're out there working for the summer. These kids would go up missing, and I mean, I guess like I think they charged her on over 100 counts, but they found like. I mean, I would assume she probably killed hundreds. Yeah, hundreds. I mean, if you find at least,
but she had to have help,
corpses.
right? Like
she would like torture them.
I know, but like she had like
stuff,
her servants or something had to help her do, chain them up, and like
Probably,
she wasn't out there doing all this by herself.
I think you're right.
Like there's no way that she was. I think
you're right. I think like other girls would have to help them, and then those girls eventually got tortured and killed too.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what kind of a life would that be for like 2 years? You're grabbing people knowing that you might be next.
Just to get another day to live.
And that's no
what
guarantee.
What are you living for? Yeah.
Because the girl who helped you yesterday was the one you grabbed today.
Yeah. But it's crazy, like, because, they always, like, when they talk about serial killers and they're predominantly men, which is true. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that's, they don't talk about the ones, like the women are, when they do it, are pretty bad.
My aunt had an encounter with Ted Bundy.
Oh, no shit.
Mm-hmm. Salt Lake.
Wow.
And he was courting her for, I guess, a few weeks.
Oh, like free Ted Bundy, like while he was still.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Like he was trying to get her on a date, and she canceled on him a couple times, I guess. And then like,
good for her.
I guess he ended up just giving up on her, killed some other chick, hid her up in the mountains, like killed her out in the mountains and shit.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my Aunt Amanda, really pretty girl. The exact person you would think Bundy would go for.
Yeah.
Blonde, she was probably like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, well, he had a type for sure.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, like very attractive young lady at the time,
Damn, dude, that's crazy. I've never met anybody that had like that close of a tie to.
Crazy.
Damn.
Dude, another crazy, funny, like not even funny, crazy story about my family? My great uncle was the one who invented and patented the way to freeze onions. Because it was very difficult to freeze onions. They didn't know how to do it. Well, he figured it out.
Really? I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
You have to freeze them a certain way.
Really?
Because the way that they're constructed, like their cells are constructed. So if you freeze onions
for like longer storage, is that what you mean? Or
no, like just to freeze. If you freeze a normal onion and then you unthaw, they like kind of like melt. They kind of go all soft.
I didn't know that. I don't like onions, so I don't.
Weird though, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nobody would have thought about that. Bird's Eye has that now, but
they at least make some money off of that, or
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he got
patent the method of freezing or something. I
think he was working for them at the time. I think that's just he developed it under Bird's Eye, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But I definitely know that he did that because my grandma always talked about it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but crazy. My grandpa introduced the American hamburger and sliced bread to South Africa in the 50s.
Damn.
Crazy.
Nice. Yeah. So you just got that hustle,
entrepreneurial
spirit in your DNA.
I think so.
Yeah.
He also owned the first FM radio stations and the first country FM radio stations in Idaho.
Wow. Okay.
He's got crazy. Yeah, he's got tens of thousands of records that are like super rare. Like we have a stockpile of stuff that was only given to radio stations. So we have like original Elvis Presley's and like original everything from
stuff,
like everything,
first pressings and
stuff that would be released before like the albums were released and stuff. Yeah,
dude, that's cool. I bet that's worth a ton too.
Crazy stuff. My grandpa was obsessed with radio, and it's only coincidental that I have a studio to do podcasting.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I never even thought about my grandfather when I started podcasting, but he hosted shows and he was like, he owned multiple radio stations and, he was like a radio show personality for a long time. He hosted different shows and stuff like that on all of his different stations. And I really never thought about it until my mom mentioned to me. She was like, that's exactly like Grandpa. You're just like Grandpa. And I was like, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
In a different capacity.
Right, sure.
He was groundbreaking with FM radio, and I guess I'm more or less like branching from the FM to the podcasting scene.
It's new generation
exactly.
of stuff.
It's kind of like, I would say I'm maybe not so much on the forefront as he was.
Oh yeah.
But
It's hard to be on the forefront
but at
of
the
anything.
same time, I kind of feel like there's an unintentional connection there.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is kind of cool.
And it's funny how like some things are like at the DNA level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I always marvel at like just any animal, right? It's born and it just knows how to do these things. Like it, you know, like it has all these instincts just born into it from the DNA. And so if you extrapolate that into humans, it makes sense that, you know, it was in your granddad's DNA and now it's in yours, and you kind of have those same instincts and, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's just like, it's always funny watching. You can just see different generations of people, and there's the same thread running through that somehow, like all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether or not, you know, somebody takes advantage of that is a different thing, but you know, it's clearly was in you because it was clearly in him, and then like you had to do something about it. You just feel like this drive.
Yeah.
It's like I'm always fascinated by that. Like animals, you know, it's like a dog is born and it just knows how to bark and sniff and, you know, wag its tail. Like, there's all these things it knows like right away that nobody teaches it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. And so it's in humans, it's funny to watch like that kind of stuff.
Well, when you think about, you know, when you're born and certain things that, you know, that are at that point instinctual, I guess, you know, eat, sleep, fight, and, you know, like self-defense, I guess.
Fight or flight kind of,
Yeah, and procreate.
Yeah.
So eat, sleep, fight, and fuck.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. But the whole world still revolves around that. As much of the other airs and trappings and stuff that we sort of put on.
Well, it
all boils down to one of those things, like, you know, fighting, fucking, eating, sleeping. Like those are, you know, or breathing. Like, yeah, those are just like things that everybody does, you know. So
well, they're primal instincts,
right?
I
But
guess.
everything traces back to it.
Exactly.
You know, so everything everybody does now, you know, you think you have higher motivations because you're a higher thinking animal and that kind of stuff, but you're not really. It all boils down to, you know, like most everybody does everything for sex and or security or safety or, you know, like, so even like making money or, you know, doing all these, it all traces back to like these several root instincts.
Well, and if you think about the human species, we have a lot of very unique things about us that are not easily explainable.
Right.
For instance, they want to tell us that we evolved from apes.
Sort of, yeah.
Right? Or that we are some sort of hominid, like you know, a hybrid maybe that has evolved over time.
Just branches off of trees, yeah.
Sure. But we are the only species of hominid that when we give birth, our babies naturally know how to handle themselves underwater. Only one.
Really?
The only time that any type of hominid species actually walks on 2 feet is when they're wading through water.
Oh.
Which doesn't make sense if we evolved like in the Saharan desert, because where the fuck are they going to have enough water to wade through when alligators are probably just snatching things up all the time, right?
Right.
It's probably not on the migratory path for hominids who are a little smarter than than a zebra or you know, other migratory species.
Buffalo,
Shoot, what other things are there about us? There's so many things about the human species that just do not make sense.
Yeah.
We're the only other species outside of dolphins that fucks for fun.
Well, that's mostly true, I think, but
Is it, am I wrong?
Well, like the bonobo, it's like the form of ape.
It's an ape,
it's like, but they do it for pleasure, but I think if you look more into it, it's a little more it's trading for favors rather than.
Oh, weird.
But it's sort of for pleasure, but also I think if you kind of look at another spin on it, it's also more for I'll have sex with you if you give me your banana, or it's like,
I'll trade my banana for that.
Yeah, or I'll do it and you pick the ticks out of my fur, or like it's just, so it's just more loose around that, but it's
we kind of do that.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, girl, I'll make you dinner if you fuck me.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, we do it because it's fun, but also sometimes there's ulterior motives,
sure,
behind that kind of stuff.
But does that monkey have the ulterior motive? Is that the point? Are they saying?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Are they?
They're not.
Do they have the capacity to differentiate
that's
the two?
The difference, right?
I think where I was getting at. Sorry, dude. The exchanging of words were kind of intermediate.
No, it's all good. I get you.
But I think the difference between the two is more of like probably an inherited and more of a conditioning type of a thing over time. Like that probably becomes ingrained in their DNA as a trade thing.
Well, that's how things become ingrained in your DNA is sort of learned behaviors over a period of time.
Originally, maybe that's what it was. Maybe his horny monkey was like, yo, girl, I don't have anything to trade for that banana, but I'll bang you out.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then the dude like in the tree next to him was like, whoa, dude, did you see that? He got a banana and all he had to do was bang her out.
Yeah.
And then they were all like, holy shit. So I'm hungry. And then they were probably just like getting bananas, banging.
Yeah.
And it probably took off.
Yeah.
Maybe it started.
Well, and it feels good for everybody. So, why not? That's like, yeah.
But, I mean, they just discovered it down in the ocean. They just discovered more species. And I'm sitting here thinking...
we haven't even touched the surface on the ocean. Like, it's like, there's so many things.
I was watching this documentary yesterday, and it was about a guy whose job for the Air Force, he was like intelligence. His job was counterintelligence to manipulate people into thinking that essentially what they were seeing was real. So and making them feel like it was real, and so there was a story about this guy. His name was like Paul Benowitz or something like that. I think it was Paul Benowitz, multimillionaire, like wealthy beyond his dreams. He owned a contracting company that would create specialized types of knickknacks for NASA, different types of little tiny things like components essentially that would be integrated within whatever it was that was being built. And he also had a fascination with radio technology and different radio waves. And he started tapping into like the base that was over the mountain, because he had started seeing really weird he'd been seeing weird lights for a long time, and he'd filmed them and taken photographs, and he'd flown his plane because he had like a private plane. Well, one of the stories was, and they interviewed the guy, his name's something like Tom Doty or something like that, special agent, but the whole time, and now he's a civilian, he's retired, but they interview him and he confirms, and they interview these people separately and he confirms, and in some of the interviews he'll like deny some of the things that these people say, but it's very convincing, some of the stuff that they talk about, as far as like, you do have to give them a little bit of truth, like for them to you have to give them like the craziest of the parts, give them the craziest of the truths, and then make some bullshit up around it. That's exactly what he said. Yeah. He's like, this is how we manipulate you guys. And if somebody has anything credible, or if they have anything that might come out that would counter any,
this goes all the way back to Nazi Germany. It was at Goebbels or whatever. That was like the German propaganda minister or whatever. There's he outlined all of this stuff. Yeah, I need another one. I'll take a sip of yours.
Yeah,
I think he outlined all of this stuff, like how, and it's that kind of stuff that you're talking about, like
manipulation.
How to manipulate, and it's there has to be some truth in there to it. There has to be. If there's not, people can, people want to believe, but they know when it's complete bullshit. And so if there's enough truth in there that they can latch on to it, then the rest is just a wrapper.
And they don't know what's true and what's not.
Right.
But the craziest thing is some of the craziest stuff you hear in there. It was what he's saying. He's like, I'm not going to confirm anything, but he's like some of the craziest of truths have to be in there.
Yeah.
He doesn't say which ones, but it's like, okay, well, you know, some of the stories that were like being told in this documentary that he's directly like signed off on reports of these people being dismissed from the military and you know, these different paperwork things that they present on the show. It's just very I would say convincing, probably more on the like convincing side than the non-convincing side, because I've seen a lot of documentaries and I'm like, I'm not stupid.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like I can see when somebody's bullshit and when it's rehearsed. And the thing was about this documentary that I really liked was it didn't have any opinion whatsoever.
It let you decide.
It literally let me decide what I believe,
which is the definition of a documentary.
It's called Mirage Men. And it talks about counterintelligence in the Air Force and them just fucking with people in the UFO community. Oh. That's literally what he did. His job, now that I think about it, okay. Going back through it in my head. Overall breakdown, maybe it's Richard Doty.
That sounds familiar for some reason,
but he is within like the UFO community, I guess. He's kind of a big deal because he's infiltrated them at like some of the top levels, where like some of the big UFO names, he made friends with them after they got big, and he started pulling information in, saying what are they, you know, what does the UFO community know, and like how are they reacting to these things, and what he was doing.
How can I lead them away from the actual truth?
How can I use this information to kind of, you know, create an abstract for these, you know, people to like kind of believe.
Well, and if you can't do that, at least make them believe enough weird stuff so that when they repeat it, people dismiss them. Right, like that's
exactly what it was.
Yeah. So it's like, so you know, if you say this partial truth out loud, it's got enough crazy other shit that everybody is like, what have you been smoking, dude? Like, come on, like. Don't you have something better to, you know? And meanwhile, they're like 50% onto the truth, but you can't, you know, nobody. If
and enough, you don't know what's true.
Yeah, and nobody knows what's true and what's not, because the truth is crazy enough that.
One of the stories, and this is getting back to the DNA thing, and on every podcast that I've ever done, I think I digress into this, and it's because like I geek out.
No, that's cool though.
We live in the Northwest, man, and like I used to have a cabin in like West Yellowstone, and I used to hike out in the mountain. Yeah, and we used to hike out in the mountains,
that's
like
about
me and my brothers.
Much solitude as you can get out there.
Pretty far out there, man. And like I would hike hours at like young age. Me and my brother would go out there, and I would hear weird noises, but I didn't know what it was. And then I started listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
And this podcast was about Sasquatch stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll geek on like on Sasquatch. I don't really believe in Bigfoot. Didn't at the time. I was like, man, it's a possibility. Didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
Watched a couple like pretty interesting documentaries up to the time. But for being as like hardcore as I am into like, you know, paranormal and things like that, you know, the Sasquatch and the Bigfoot stuff never really caught my attention until.
And because it's plausible enough that it doesn't really stand out. It's like there could be a ape human like, you know, or human like ape, whatever, you know, out there. I mean, there's so many things we don't know. There's you know, so many like super remote areas that, you know,
70% of everything on a map has never been touched by man.
Right.
70%.
I know, it's crazy.
So we only have been to 30%. So and we don't even know what's within that 30%. We're still finding things. They just discovered a tribe in the Amazon like a month ago that had never been contacted by man.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
So
dude.
Who's going to tell me there's no such thing as a fucking Bigfoot when nobody's out there discovering? The thing is, they have these Amazon discovery projects because they're out there trying to discover these people.
Right.
You know, and that makes sense to try to like make contact with them. To
Although
make sure
that reminds me of
safe.
that, like, I don't know if it was the Amazon or not, but that reminds me of that, like, that there's this one tribe that's so hostile that every time they try to contact it, like
they throw spears.
Yeah,
and
there's
shit.
like a plane
them.
with like a bunch of spears in the bottom of the wings or something like that. I don't
They're
remember.
aggressive.
Yeah.
There was a guy on National.
So they just leave them alone.
Yeah, National Geographic just did an article on a guy. He's the very last survivor of his tribe that was wiped out in the 70s.
Oh wow.
They've been following him. He's lived all by himself in the Amazon ever since his tribe got wiped out. He was the only survivor, and they got killed either by traffickers or loggers, like illegal loggers.
Oh, just taking their land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Taking their land. They fought back, and I mean, what are you gonna do with bows and arrows
and
when
guns.
Let's be real.
Well, America.
300 years ago,
Yeah.
you still probably would have lost.
Yeah, well, America. I mean,
Yeah.
there was bows and Indian, but and all that. Like, and we were like, hey, we got guns and cannons.
Columbus.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Even
you don't even need guns and cannons. Just go
Yeah.
over and sneeze on them.
Yeah, okay.
The whole fucking tribe
Yeah.
will drop.
Here, have a blanket. Yeah.
Here, yeah, give them a blanket. That was proof, by the way. That's true.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
I know. Isn't that that's
Wasn't
like
that considered the first form of biological
warfare?
warfare?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super fucked
They
too.
wiped
Like,
them
I can't even
all
imagine
out.
like what do you have to be thinking? Although it's not abnormal for humankind in its history. Like humankind has proven to be crazy, cruel, and but I like just me personally, it's hard for me to think of what would make me give somebody a blanket with smallpox or whatever. Like I just like this crazy. It's crazy, man.
You got to think at this time, though. I mean, you were cutting people's heads off for like stealing loaves of bread.
No,
right?
it was definitely rougher and
Yeah.
harder, and like I get that. Like we're soft now. We're soft as fuck. Like we've removed ourselves so far outside of like evolution
We're
and
less
all that
primitive.
stuff. Yeah, like it's like all these traits that would have died off a long time ago are so protected now by society that so you have all these weak, soft people, that squeal about being offended or whatever, that would have died off because they're so weak in the past, and now they're so protected that they can't. So that's where we are as humans, which is, I guess, sort of a good thing, but also it's also led to PC culture too. So I kind of sometimes you hope for smallpox again. Not really, but sort of.
Yeah, well, we're definitely in strange times, man.
Yeah, it's uncharted territory for sure. Like
We are.
we're so technologically and societally advanced that who knows where this is going to go to now. I mean, when you look through history, any time a society's been in as good a times as this, it's a decline. Like something happens and they get wiped off or taken over, or, like there's I feel like there's always something, like the other shoe's gonna drop at some point. But hey,
Well,
I'm gonna ride this out.
We're in a time. Exactly. I have a great example, and I don't care what anybody thinks because I'm right. And y'all can go fuck yourselves if you don't think so. But somebody posted on like Facebook today. It was like Time Magazine, and it was a picture of a lady. She looked like she would, she was probably immigrated here, and it was like, I have a master's degree and 16 years experience, and I still can't afford to pay my bills. And
I saw that the teacher.
Yeah.
It was a teacher or
Teacher,
something, I think. Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, okay, first of all, you work 9 months out of the year. If you have multiple jobs, where the fuck is your money going? I have neighbors right here.
Yeah.
When they bought their house, it was way before I bought my house. Their house is worth more than mine, and my house is worth a lot more than what I paid for it.
Yeah.
That thing right there, over $400,000. So when they bought that house, it had to have been close to at least $350,000.
Yep.
Which was like
good,
right before I would have bought my house.
And it's a good salary. You can't get a house that costs that much.
No, they have 3 kids. All summer long, they hang out, they barbecue, they have people over all the time, they go boating, they take care of their lawn, they have an amazing looking yard.
Yeah.
Like, nobody can tell me that teachers don't. I mean, yes,
They
comparatively, they're not getting paid like an engineer.
They make us a comfortable living wage.
They can.
Yeah.
It's how you manage your money.
Yeah.
You have 3 months of the year, and I've heard teachers.
If you're keeping up with the Joneses, maybe it's not enough, right? But yeah, you got to live within your means. Like that's.
But if you have a master's degree and you spent that much time, and you're bitching about how much money you make,
but not all of
you
those.
probably should have spent another 7 years studying something different if you want to make
that's what I was
going
to say. Like master's degrees are not equal. If you have a master's in gender studies, you fucking wasted your money. You
weren't in it for the money at that point.
Yeah, I know, but
you shouldn't bitch about the money.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, but it's like some degrees are just worthless. Like you like if you spend $100,000 on being an English major or gender studies or something, you can't expect to make that back.
No.
Right? Like
No,
it's
not at
cool.
all.
It's cool if you want to do that. That's fine. Whatever floats your boat. Do whatever you want to do. Study, learn whatever you want to learn, but don't expect that you're going to make you're going to get your investment back out of it.
No.
There's a whole bunch of master's degrees that you're not going to get your investment back out of. You're just not. Now, if you did it for the knowledge, that's awesome. And it sucks that it cost you that much to get that knowledge, which you probably could have just got for, some late charges at the library or whatever. Like, that's what, but
when America tries to make somebody feel guilty, look, I have a master's degree, and guess what? I didn't get a master's degree in education because I didn't feel like making $45,000 fucking dollars a year for a master's degree.
You didn't feel like paying $100,000 for a master's degree that you were only going to make that much out of.
Exactly.
Because that wasn't what was important to you. You wanted to make a good wage.
Yeah. If I'm going to invest my time, I'm going to put, so many years into something that's going to give me money.
Yeah.
And something that I like.
Yeah.
Where if you're a teacher and you're looking for money, get the fuck out of that job.
You're in the wrong profession.
Not looking for you're not looking for
and there's
the
other
right
ways
job.
to do it too. Like for me, like
write a book.
Like I don't even have a college degree. But I took a path that led through a lot of technical stuff. And, early stages of IT, and then I just built my way up from there. Like, you can do it that way too. You can you can start from that, and then you can still learn. You can get certifications and do all that kind of stuff. Hey, girl.
Well, on the Time magazine, it's like, I have 16 years experience and a master's.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how about you get out of teaching and you go find a corporate position where you can coach and you can teach somebody on an executive level because you have 16 years of experience teaching and coaching people at a level of understanding that somebody on the executive side could understand, but it's not too elementary for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when I dumb things down for like my clients who are like, they're VPs of pretty big companies. When I dumb it down, I don't make them look fucking stupid. I don't make them sound stupid.
No.
I make it sound very professional.
You make it sound accessible.
Like somebody who went to fucking high school.
Yeah, it's accessible. It's accessible for those people. It's not.
It doesn't make them feel stupid.
But that's an art form, right? That's not something that you can learn in school. When you go do that, that's something that you haven't learned. That's something that's in you. That's what I've found out about people. People that can tell. I don't know a better way to put this, but like sort of lesser educated people about higher education topics, but make it not sound like you're talking down to them or any of that stuff. That's an innate skill that only few people have. So so she probably couldn't do that. Like, no, I don't care how many masters you get, you can't. That doesn't make you qualified or good at teaching. You have an innate.
Maybe she's worked for 16 years and she just sucks.
Yeah, that's
who knows.
Right.
Let's look at her evaluations, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like let's
see her student scores. Maybe that's why she doesn't get paid. Maybe because she can't get her students to score above a C average.
Yeah.
Maybe she sucks at her job.
Some people are just not good teachers. So that's.
And I've had some shitty teachers.
Yeah.
I'll call them out.
Yep.
Yo, all my shitty teachers, y'all suck.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah,
because you know you suck.
Yeah.
If you suck as a teacher, you know you suck because all your students suck.
Yeah.
If I sucked at your class, then you sucked as a teacher.
Yeah, because
I'm not stupid.
Because you're boring.
You're boring and you have terrible curriculum. You don't know how to apply it.
Yep.
Got to get your message across, people. If you're gonna brainwash all these like kids in college, make sure you do it right because you fucked up with me. Because I think independently. I'm not part of that system, sadly.
Yeah. Well, that was my so I made like C's in algebra and all that stuff, and it wasn't because I couldn't do it. It was just because I was like, well, why? Like I'm always asking why. Why do I need this?
Yeah.
If you can't tell me why I need this, I'm gonna go divert my attention elsewhere. They were like, you need algebra. I was like, tell me where.
Yeah.
Here I am, like way later in life. Not once in my entire life have I needed algebra. Ever.
Let me explain to you what they didn't explain to you, and this is how I get it across to people when I've coached and taught. It's not what you learn, it's how you learn it.
Right.
And that's what pisses me off is when they would say, oh, well, you might not ever use it in life. No, you're never going to. There's no might in there. Just tell these kids everything is fucking automated nowadays. If you want to be an accountant, Boom, you got software, you put the numbers in, it spits that shit out, man. Everything is automated. We live in a technologically driven world where things are consistently evolving, and we have this this need for speed, and people want things faster and faster and faster. So when just tell the kids, hey, listen, when you do this 30-step problem, don't ever think about it ever again. Because the thing that I want to teach you is how you solve it. How do you think differently? What is it that forces you to think?
Critical thinking skills.
It's essentially
problem solving, troubleshooting.
And our cognitive learning doesn't mature until we're like 23 to 25 or some shit like that. So what it's doing is building pathways, essentially, like neuro pathway connections for us to essentially think differently. All teachers have to do is say, you're never going to use this. Just know that the way that you're learning and the way this makes you think, it challenges you, and it may, if it makes you uncomfortable because you don't know how to solve the problem, that's good.
Well, it's a crude way. It's a crude way of learning that skill, though. Like there are better ways of learning those kinds of critical thinking skills and problem solving skills rather than doing the old school ways that you don't need anymore. Like there are whole other classes and curriculums that are designed to help you learn that stuff better. Right. But you're right. It does do the same thing. It's just crude. It's just a crude old school way of learning those pathways to get to. So the software does that work for you, but you still have to figure out kind of the why, and you still have to interpret the data afterwards. And that's where the critical thinking comes in. And because that's what I do, in my day job, and I look at things and I have to think differently, just because a lot of the data that I look at throughout the day could tell me 5 different stories. Which one do I want to tell? Which one do I want to be able to use to how do you want the data to be perceived, right? That's that's the question you're asking yourself, is like, what do I want these people to think about this data when I'm done talking? Exactly. And so you can do that 20, 30, 50 different ways.
They could be the number 1 in units sold and the number 2 in dollar sales. And they could be number 1 in margin increase.
You can twist statistics and data any way you want to read anything you want, and people will go, "Oh, you're the number 1 network on TV." Well, what does that mean? Well, we had the highest rating on one show, or we had the highest rating across all these shows on a Thursday. There's so many things you can sort of get away with saying, "Well, we're number 1," and it's not necessarily true.
No, it's not necessarily true at all.
But you can make a lot of money telling people what to think about. So, which is sad, but it's also cool for people that can do it. They can lead the sheep or whatever, And most people really just want to be led. So there's a market for that.
I always tell people, don't go to school if you don't want to go to school. If you love something, I know plenty of people who got GEDs and they do something they love and they make way more money.
I know guys that do welding and metalwork that make a really good living, or HVAC stuff. Like those people, they make, and that's respectable as fuck. Like that's a good living. Like and maybe they went to a little technical school for a year or something, but they didn't spend $100,000 on it, and so they're doing fine. Like, linemen. Linemen. Yeah, like Ben.
They make tons of money.
Yeah, dude. Like it's it's a little dangerous, but
that's why they get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's like there's tons of stuff you can do like that. And here's what I was going to mention.
Trades.
Right, and I was going to mention this earlier, but this will tie it in too. Is like everything boils down to entitlement and expectations. Right? Like if you have this expectation, like this dream in your head about going to college and getting a degree and making a bunch of money and getting married and having kids and, the fake American dream and all that stuff that's sold, you're going to be disappointed most of the time. Now if you
You'll be middle class.
Yeah, and which is not saying much anymore. Middle class is not what it used to be. It's the upper middle class is the old middle class, and middle class is it's barely above poor, and it's all messed up now, but
it's shifted.
But if you can see clearly enough to like blaze your own path somehow, you can be as successful or more successful than anybody. So even if you're just like, hey, spending all that money on college is not going to get me the outcome I desire. I'm going to go to a 1 or 2 year trade school and spend 15 grand or whatever, and then I'm going to be, HVAC technician making 80 grand a year within 4 or 5 years after that. That's a pretty good life, and you blazed your own path, and good for you, and you're not in debt, and it's not killing you, but most people are just like, they do what they're supposed to, what they think they're supposed to. They get out of high school or go to college, and you don't know, at 21, you have no idea what the hell you want to do. Some people do, but not really. You're
just doing what you're
told.
Yeah,
and so you go and you're like, after you spend like the first 6 months, taking the basic classes and trying to figure out what you want to do, and you're on the clock, and then they're like, well, pick one. You got to pick a major. Like, what do it's... And then you're just like, God, I don't know, philosophy, and then like halfway through that, you find out philosophy's not worth the shit.
Yeah.
Especially, it's definitely not worth anything as a occupation. And then later on, you find out it's not really worth the shit at all. It's the way of asking questions. You don't get any answers out of philosophy. So,
no.
It's like, I don't know. It just feels like a scam looking back, at all that stuff. Like, and then the few people that kind of make it out their own way, and it's funny because those are the people that I end up gravitating to, that sort of do their own thing, and or like Dusty or Daniel, that Daniel's kind of got his own business, and it's a trade, and Dusty's got a trade, and you've got all your stuff going on, like it's not. I mean, you're highly educated too, but it wasn't necessarily for that.
Exactly.
Right.
My schooling has helped, but it definitely
you're just educated because you want to be educated.
It hasn't helped. It hasn't helped me to launch anything and to do what I do, but it's helped me to really understand how to make it better.
Right, exactly. And so you still blazed your own path that way. It was like you were able to separate the education from the goal.
Yeah, I mean, my business partner, he's got like a sports management degree or something. Yeah, it's completely unrelated to anything that we do. Well,
sort of, yeah.
Something, a little bomb drop, everybody. Pro Edge is going to start a management company because we have a bunch of pro fighters who have no representation. Dude. Yeah, they just dropped like the biggest promotion here in the Valley, just stopped promoting.
Dude, that's fucking
they
great.
They dropped everybody but one, and my business partner and I are pretty deep in the community.
Yeah.
So as far as just having like a good network, knowing some people, we sponsor some of the people anyways.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll see. That's what we want to do, like a Pro Edge management.
Dude, that's dope because
Bellator fighters and stuff.
Yeah, because that fulfills some needs, like because they need it now. They're all sort of adrift.
It's a vacuum.
Yeah, well,
agents,
and it's their job to train and fight. They don't want to think about the management and all the other crazy bullshit that you can't really do both.
Sure.
Like you can't train and fight all the time and then step back and go, oh, here's the best business decision for me or whatever. Like that's not, so that's awesome that you don't, and the fact that you're in, I mean, obviously
I'm not doing it. My business partner is, but we'll incorporate it
right
within the name. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'll be a part of it, but like hands off, like 100%.
Right. But that's still cool.
It's still cool to be a part of it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're a part of it anyway, like with the with the supplement and the sponsorship, and and then having fought yourself, like kind of what that takes.
Sure.
And people they understand that there's a respect there where they're like, oh, he's not somebody that's just a internet tough guy, or like
I'm not a bro.
Right. You got in the ring and somebody tried to fucking hurt you, like so. That's
never lost, dog. Which is not.
Well, just the fact that you got in there. That's the thing. For it's
like anybody who gets on stage or anything.
Yeah,
like
it's
just have the confidence to get up there. I don't think it matters if you win or not.
Yeah.
I think what matters is that you apply what you've learned.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you don't do anything you were supposed to do, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
But you probably shouldn't do what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. And that's the definition of a fighter is somebody that first of all overcomes the innate sort of not necessarily fear but caution, like your brain's always telling you, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be fighting for no reason, and so if you can overcome that and get in the ring, but then if in there in the middle of that, when you have like this adrenaline dump and all your limbs are shaking and the heat's on. Now, if you can apply the knowledge that you trained for, that's what makes a fighter. Like, not only did you get in there, but you were able to apply it. Even if you lost, you still,
keep your composure. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can, if you, the way I've always looked at it, and I've lost in plenty of things in my life.
Well, that's how you grow. If you never lose, you don't
like
grow.
Like in football, for instance.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I said, I just never lost in boxing.
Yeah.
Because I usually stick to my guns because I feel confident. I grew up with 4 brothers.
Yeah.
Like we used to throw fists all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's nothing getting somebody throwing punches at you just because you're used to that growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fighter who's not like, I'm not the most competitive. Like, I don't want to go fight 5, 6, 7 times because I've had like a year. Because I've had enough head trauma playing football through college.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've boxed off and on for over a decade.
Just do it
now.
Enough to get to challenge yourself.
Yeah, and I compete like every year too. I'll have a couple fights, 2, 3 fights. Like I fought last year. I was supposed to fight like twice this year, but had a cancellation in the other one. Nobody else is going to fight for our club, and I just didn't feel like going in and sparring with everybody. Just if it was just me. But
well, you got nothing left to prove at this point.
Well,
you still.
I still like to fight.
You like to challenge yourself.
Yeah, I like to set goals. Yeah, and it's fun to go out there and every now and again like rough somebody up, because I do spar with guys who are like, they're like professional fighters, and I go in there and I have fun with them and I challenge them and like I give them something to work towards.
Yeah.
And I do my best. I can't say that I've ever really been outclassed or outmatched, but it's because I think I work well and I adapt well in those situations.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with football and skateboarding. I think my background really has a lot to do with like certain things like reflexes and all kinds of stuff, So, but we should probably maybe wrap this up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and get ready for this show. Maybe we can swing on down. We've already been going for almost an hour, dude.
Oh, shit. That was quick.
It's crazy. I know. That's how party casts go here.
I know, man. It's awesome.
Scott, let's get you back on again. I apologize that the first one I didn't.
No, dude, it's all.
I meant to publish it, and I even recorded an intro.
It's all good, man.
Like I said, I lost the data in between like refreshes on my computers and swapping.
I'm down to do this anytime, so.
Plenty more time.
We'll get it back.
But anyways, everybody who's listening in, make sure that you subscribe, give us 5 stars, share the episode, and make sure that you like all of our pages on social media. If you want to hear Scott again, hit us up at proedgepodcast@gmail.com or any of the Channel 99 Studio social media pages, and we'll get him back on sooner than the next time I'll book him. So anyway, Scott, any parting words? Where can we find you? Everywhere. Pornhub.com.
I'm around. Yeah.
/ BBW.
Yeah, that's actually the thing I'll leave with is like this thing I heard was like this dude was like, hey, I've got a Pornhub duffel bag I take to the airport, and it's like it's the best thing for picking up girls because they like think you're a porn star and they want to get all up on it. I just thought that was like the funniest, coolest shit ever. Some dude just shows up to the airport with a Pornhub duffel bag.
I might do that.
Yeah, and that's like a thing.
Because I look like I could pass off as a porn star.
Right. I was like, shit, that works. Like, all right. So hey, if you're listening, get a Pornhub duffel bag.
Oh shit.
That's what's up.
Pornhub.com.
Yep.
I'll tag y'all. All right, man. Peace out.
All right.